YouTube? It's your girl Tori Patrice and I am back with another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. And child, it's the same old mess. So let's get straight into this mess. So first we have Paul and Karine. Now you guys know that Paul's mother was in Brazil visiting. So basically, Paul made a store run in this episode. And while he was gone, Karine talked to his mom about how to handle Paul when he gets angry, because from the looks of it, he gets to like a really dark place. And because guys, if you remember that episode when he got mad at Karine one time and he went to the dog shed or something and he was just like muttering things to himself and it was just like really creepy. So basically she just confided in the mother and was like, you know, I really don't know what to do when he gets out of control. And Paul's mom was just like, well, girl, I wish I had advice for you, but I don't. So basically all she could say was like, that you guys should, you know, talk it out. And the mother spoke to Paul and she was just like, I think that you need to, you know, put more effort into this marriage and really grow up and get a job to support your family, because I'm not going to be able to financially support you. I'm about to retire. So you really need to get it together. Like, you're 35. Come on. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, Paul was like, yeah, I hear you. You know, I know I need to get a job. You know, it's kind of hard to get a job when you don't speak Portuguese. And she's like, well, that's what you're studying for, right? And he's like, yeah, you know, but it's not as easy as you think. And she's like, okay, but no one said it was going to be easy. Like, come on, like, you knew this. You chose to marry someone in a foreign country. You knew you were going to have to live there. So, like, you know you had to learn the language. It just came off as, like, really American privilege-y. Like, when he was like, it's just kind of hard. And it's just like, you know you're going to have to adjust to that lifestyle and speaking the language if you want to be marketable as a worker in that country. So I don't know what he thought, like what type of Disney fairy tale he thought, but he needs to get it together. So anyway, yeah, it just ended with him and Karine talking about how they're going to move forward in the relationship, and he was asking her like, is everything good between us? And he was like, are you gonna stop? You like, no, there's gonna be no more texting other guys. And she's like,
oh Lord, again.
But anyway, she told him that she did not want to get a divorce, but then on her confessional, she stated that she really is kind of sticking it out because she's hopeful that he will change and because they have a son together. So I really don't know how this is going to work out. I feel like Paul needs to learn how to communicate with Karine in a more healthy way. And she also needs to learn how to communicate better and kind of be understanding as to why it would bother him that you're texting other guys. But anyway, so I don't know about that couple, but I don't really see them working out that well, but we'll see. So next we have Jenny and Sumit. Y'all, at this point, are they scamming us? Like, are they really scamming us? Because it doesn't make sense how all of a sudden, after what supposedly was this dramatic confrontation between Summit's family and him and Jenny, that they just magically let him see her 7 days later. Like, that doesn't make sense. If they're going to drag him away from her, why would they permit him to see her 7 days later, which is what the TLC producers claim on this episode? So anyway, Summit rolls up and he comes to visit Jenny at their apartment. And the way he came in, it was just like too smooth, like as if nothing happened. Like, he came up on her like, hi baby, and I'm like, what? Like, You're married. Like, didn't we just find out that you were married and lying this entire time? So what are you talking about? Hi, baby. Like, it was just so weird to me. And then she gave him a hug, like, as soon as she saw him. And I just thought that was strange that it would be so lighthearted when they first see each other. I mean, I get that they would miss each other, but that was just awkward how he just came in so smooth and confident, like, hi, baby. And I'm like, what? So anyway, so, you know, they tell each other hello. That was the greeting or whatever. So they hug, and as soon as Jenny's in his arms, she just starts crying her eyes out. And she's like, you know, how could you do this to me? Like, what happened or whatever? So anyway, he goes into the whole, well, I didn't want to be married. It was an arranged marriage. And, you know, but that doesn't excuse the fact that you weren't honest about it. If this all isn't a hoax, you weren't honest about it, and you let this go on way too long, and you literally allowed her to go all the way to India under the pretense that you would be married, the false pretense that you would marry her, and then come to find out you aren't married. And then, because it just doesn't, you let it go on too long. You let her come to India knowing that you could not marry her. She only is there on a tourist visa. So basically, you knew that she couldn't marry you and that she would have to go home after the visa expires, which is only in 90 days. So you knew she only had 90 days to spend with you, and you still allow her to give up everything, all forms of security in America, her place of residence, her retirement, everything, her job. She has nothing to go back to. She literally stated that if I go back to America, I'm going to be on my daughter's couch. That is sad. So anyway, she was like basically questioning him about that. And then he just starts trying to get sympathy about how he didn't want to be married to the wife, and then how he tried to make, it didn't make sense because you said you didn't want to be married to the wife. But then in the next breath, he says, but I tried to make it work with her for the first year of our marriage. Mind you, they've been married for 2 years. And how were you trying to make it work with her when you were still communicating with Jenny, like on a relationship level, the entire year of that marriage? And that's exactly what Jenny pointed out. And he really didn't have a good answer. It was just like, I'm not understanding. Either you totally were resistant and did not want to be married to her, or you actually did try to get the best of both worlds and have a wife and keep Jenny on the side. Like, it just, your intentions seem very questionable at this point. So I really don't have no type of empathy for Submit at this point. And Jenny, you need to pack your bags and go back to America.
Get your life in order. Because it's not in order.
Because at this point, you only have a few more days on your visa, and you're out of everything. Like, you've exhausted all options at this point. What are you waiting for?
You are wasting your life by doing that.
There's nothing for you in India, okay? Nothing. Go back home. Let it be over with. And I guess on the next episode, she is going to have to go back home because she has no choice. And then I saw him talking about, like, oh, I really don't want to, I don't want her to leave. Well, what did you expect? What did you expect? What is she supposed to do? She literally has no choice but to leave. Her tourist visa it's going to expire. And she can't marry you in order to have the legal ability to stay there. So it's like, what do you mean you don't want to see her go? What do you mean you don't want her to leave? It's not like she has a choice. You brought her there knowing that you could not marry her, knowing that she would have to go after her tourist visa expired. So what do you mean? Why are you acting surprised? Why? I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for you. Like, cut it out. Just cut it out. Cut it out. Oh my gosh. So that's where it ended with Jenny and Submit. Like, that's a whole mess. And I'm so over it. Okay, so now we get to Laura and Aladin. So this week's segment for Laura and Aladin was actually really nice. Like, Liam finally apologized for how he was acting like a jerk towards Laura and towards Aladin and not giving Aladin a chance. And he was like, you know, I'm really sorry that I was acting this way, and I came all this way, and I just really was very resistant and, wasn't supportive. He didn't show up to the first 2 nights of the wedding. And basically, he talks about how he was caught off guard when Aladin mentioned that they wanted to have children together. And he just expressed that it kind of made him feel like he would be swept under the rug in Laura's life because, I guess they had some type of plan where Laura was going to help him through college and, and then they would be able to support each other. And, for so long it was just him and his mom. So I could understand why he felt like, he was just kind of being swept under the rug, or that he would be swept under the rug when this new child, if a new child does come into the picture. So I could understand that. And basically he just expressed that, he kind of felt abandoned. Like, his mom, even though he's an adult in age at this point, he's still very young, and his mom is basically like his best friend. So he was probably just very, hurt that she moved so far away. And then with the possibility of a new child, he really felt like he was gonna lose, basically that strong bond that they had. So they had a really sweet heart-to-heart, and they hugged it out, and it was really nice. And then he did come to the last day of their wedding, and he apologized to Aladin for being so rude to him, and Aladin forgave him. And he even gave Aladin a hug, and it was really nice. Aladin was like, yeah, it's cool, bro, he calls everybody bro. But anyway, so it was really nice to see. And yeah, it was cool. I could tell it was hot at their wedding though, because everybody was sweating. Laura's makeup was just all oily. And Aladin was sweating. Like, it looked like it was hot up in there, but they did look like they had a good time. And, the family was dancing. So it was a good episode for Laura and Aladin. Lastly, we have Tiffany and Ronald. And y'all, their segment honestly made me upset. Because you guys know that Tiffany and Ronald are expecting a child. And, they're still trying to figure out the logistics of where they're going to be living and how safe it's going to be. Is it going to be a safe enough environment to bring Daniel over to South Africa to live there with them permanently? And on this episode, Tiffany's son Daniel was there visiting with them, and you can tell that he has a really strong bond with Ronald, and it's so cute. Like, her son is so sweet and well behaved. Like, he just loves his mom, and he loves Ronald. Like, they went to the park, and he kissed both of their hands, and he calls Ronald dad, and it's so cute. Like, I love how cute and sweet her son is. So anyway, they went to the park, and obviously the park was not in the best condition. It had like rusty and outdated play equipment that wasn't really safe for Daniel to play on, so it wasn't really like a fun playground experience. And she was just talking to Daniel about like his feelings about possibly moving to South Africa. He was like, I really want to be with you and Ronald, but at the same time, South Africa is not the type of environment that I'm used to, and I miss my friends. And she was like, yeah, I miss them too, And so, she was just basically reassuring him that she would make the best decision for his well-being and his happiness. So then when we get to the end of the episode and it circles back around to the Tiffany and Ronald segment, Tiffany and Ronald go to this lookout place where he proposed to her, and she was like, I really want to talk to you about something. And then she's basically like, I don't think living in South Africa is gonna work. It's not the best environment for Daniel. And I had to do what's best for this family and our child. And basically, she was saying that she doesn't want to trigger a gambling relapse in Ronald, because she knows that she's gonna have to be completely financially dependent on him in South Africa for right now. And also on top of that, he doesn't make that much money, and giving birth in a private hospital in South Africa is going to be super expensive. So she doesn't want to put all that financial strain on him. So she was saying that it's best that she and Daniel go back to the US, and she would have the baby in the US and apply for his visa to come over there. But the thing is, we know that Ronald has a criminal past, and with that criminal activity being on his record, it's going to make it really hard for him to be able to get approved for a visa. So this pretty much means that he will miss the birth of his first child. And honestly, it just made me really upset, because it's like, you didn't consider this before you decided to start your family. Because you guys remember, she and Ronald planned this baby. This was not just an accident. They planned the baby. So it's like, you didn't consider that maybe you should try to see if you actually wanted to live in South Africa, or see if you could apply for his visa to get over there in the US before you decided to start the family. Because now I just feel like that's super unfair to him, that he has to miss the birth of his first child, and that Daniel has to miss out on time with Ronald when he already has, you know, such a strong bond with him. Now he's gonna have to say goodbye to him, and they're also newlyweds. So I just feel like it's just terrible. It's just terrible timing. Everything is just, they didn't time anything, they didn't plan anything properly, because it's like, you guys knew. It's just like, all up until this whole time, you knew that you were gonna live in South Africa, right? But then when you get pregnant, which you planned this pregnancy, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe I should consider trying to bring Ronald over to the US. Why didn't you try to handle that before starting the family? Like, that's so unfair to have to miss the birth of your first child. Like, you saw how Devin and Jihoon had to have that whole video chat when Devin was having Tae Yang. So that was just like, it's not the same. A video call is not the same when you can't be there to hold your child as it's, you know, coming into the world. And I just feel like it's just really frustrating. I feel really bad for Ronald. She always is talking about how she doesn't want to, you know, trigger a gambling relapse, but it's like, you're leaving him in South Africa. Wouldn't that be a trigger? Like, he's gonna have to say goodbye to his stepson, and he's gonna miss the birth of you guys' first child together. Like, that is just crazy. Why? She's like, I have to at least, she literally says, I have to at least, before living in South Africa, I have to at least try to see if we can get Ronald over to the US. You guys couldn't consider that before you got pregnant? Because it's literally, they planned the pregnancy. That's why I don't understand it. But I guess we'll just have to see. I feel bad for Ronald. But you guys, let me know what you think. Comment down below your thoughts about this episode. And that was it for this week. There was no Corey and Evelyn segment for this week, or a Devin and Jihoon segment. So we'll see what's up with them next week. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to this channel. Bye, guys.